Hey, this is Son of Sonnet. I'm a voice actor, audiobook narrator, and poet. And if you stop by, welcome. I'm just going to be working on a couple of things. Brainstorming. What is my future? If I am to be a Vtuber, what future will it be for me? Well, who knows? Who knows? We're going to see what we can figure out today. I would very much like to get a plan going, and I'm going to start doing a couple of streams, maybe twice a week, and just warm up into it. I don't have a particularly special debut in mind. There is probably need for that at some point, and hopefully I can build up to some formal occasion, but I think it's a good idea to build some decent habits first and just see how it feels. So I got a bit of stuff to do. So right now I'm just using a program called Scapple, and I'm gonna kind of go over some stuff. This is a fun little brain map software, so I'll use this to just connect a little bit, connect some dots. I'd actually already have one of these kind of made in advance right now, and I will go ahead and just kind of place this to the side here. Just so I can have it, an older one that I had to look at and kind of just see how well it goes. See if any of my ideas kind of go in the same place, or maybe we'll go in a whole different direction. Don't know. And anyone stops by, hope you're willing to chat, help me out, and just see where things go. But anyway, if you got ideas for me, then I'm happy to hear them out. But I'm just gonna kind of shoot ideas out, and we'll see what we come up with. Because I'd like to have fun doing my VTuber stuff, and hopefully I can make some proper entertainment for other people as well. Although I myself am, at least the past year or two, about a couple years, been focusing more on pre-made stuff, and I enjoy audiobook narration since that is kind of my thing. So getting back into live entertainment is going to be an adjustment for me, and I'm just kind of looking forward to figuring that out. Welcome my one viewer. How are you doing today? So I'm going to just start with reorganizing some notes from my old Scapple. So here we go. So let's start with me. Who am I? My name. Another J. Welcome. How you doing today? Son of Sonnet. That is my handle, as it were. Now, the thing is, I am technically probably expected to be a character whenever I am live streaming or doing something along those lines. Technically, my design here has a character name because I want to use it in mind with for a story that I want to do. I want to make some prepared materials, some actual audio scenes, and, well, audio visual material. So I always kind of wanted to be a writer growing up, but I think maybe trying to do a different format might be good for just exploring different ideas that I have, or whichever. And I've had an idea percolating for a longer series of stories for a while now, so I kind of want to see what can I do with these characters, or what kinds of stories can I tell playing this figure, and what kind of voice can I give, and all that. It would be fun, wouldn't it be crazy to have to play this character, play this sort of voice, and do this accent, whichever, for some 4 hours, whichever. Wouldn't that be something? But now I am Son of Sonnet, but this character's name character name is actually something different. So I've thought over it a little bit. And the name that I'm kind of settling on is it's going to be a reference to a couple of theater directors. So the first name of this character is Tad, but with a caveat that he has a legal name and a common name. So I have a character in a fictional setting, and I'm just figuring his parents, I'm going to say, were weeboos of a sort, because I don't feel like pretending that my character is of this fictional world's equivalent of Japanese, but at the same time, I do know that whatever I do with this fictional world is going to draw on real life. So this character's name is, there are different ways of spelling it. There are different derivatives with Irish, but there's a Japanese name, Tadashi. There is a Japanese director who we kind of know of in, or sometimes gets taught in school for theater. And it's like Tadashi Suzuki is his name, and that's sort of the reference to him. But the name Tad, I'm going to have to pull up the definition, but the name Tad actually has more Irish or Irish Gaelic origins, and that's kind of where this character is from. It's like this fictional world setting of Ireland, as it were, or some place that I kind of wish Ireland was, I guess, because it's just kind of a fun thing to think about. But the actual spelling of that for, say, in Ireland would be like Tadhg. But I just feel like Tad is good enough. And, the pronunciation would be different. It'd be like Tadashi would be the Japanese name. But I was thinking, I was going to make him Todd at first. And just thought, Then I kind of looked up what Tad was, and it seemed like a good name because it actually does refer to the meaning of Tad. It's a masculine Irish name, and it's kind of means poet or philosopher. Or at least that's what Wikipedia tells me. Wikipedia wouldn't lie, would it? It would. But I think that given my background and everything, my interests, that Tad is a good name. So I kind of don't know if I want to change that to be the tug or whichever. But I think, I'm gonna leave it like that because TAD is just gonna be nice and simple, I think. But Tad is the character's first name, and the second one, the last name, is Barton. And that is a reference to a British and English theater director, Mr. Jonathan Barton, who has one of my favorite workshops that I've seen for how to play Shakespeare. He's got like a really cool. He's a wonderful voice, Mr. John Barton, and he also does a great job teaching how to play Shakespeare, or putting on that workshop where he actually has actors in the room talking about their experience playing it, and the nature of the language and the balance that you try to meet between the formal and the natural. And I say formal and natural, but the rich language and the natural human emotion that you have in scenes. So I think, Tad is probably going to be it. And this is and I guess as a title or a tag for what I am, or what I am as a performer, or whichever, for me, not this character necessarily, but I'm going to have this to the side. And so what I am is, what am I? Tad the Chad. Yeah. Mad Jay, that might work. It would be fun, but people can always come up with all kinds of fun things. You're not Tad the Chad, you're Tad the Tadpole. Wouldn't that be fun? But we got, what am I? I don't know. I guess I'm going to be goofy and say I am a literary VTuber. I guess, because my interests kind of extend into literature, art, poetry, writing, and doing readings of things. So I have my interests, and this is part of where my challenges are going to be with creating things. So what I like is not what everyone else likes. That's all right. That just means I'll have a more specific audience. But at the same time, what is my audience and everything, that is part of this whole question. Like, if I'm a good fit for the VTubing crowd and everything. The domes of Tadrathia. How wouldn't that be? That would be a whole different story. I'm curious to see how that will go. Because we'll eventually approach continuing that story again, or doing the sequel. I know that Isaac wants to do it as, he wants to convert it into a serialized story, just like The Last Human. But at the same time, I feel apprehensive about that personally. I think my opinion, and he can do whatever he wants, so no pressure from me. My preference would be that he keeps Domes of Calrathia as the books, and or audiobooks separately, and have the Last Human be that serialized thing that he wants it to be, so they have a more distinct identity from each other. They're both good stories, but they are different, and I think that the way you experience them should also be different. But that's my preference, but it's not advice, per se. I'm just kind of curious how things will go, and how they'll develop in the future. I know right now he's, last I saw, he was editing Giga Heroes right now. And I only did like a couple of chapters for that way back in the day, which is more like some months ago. But so I don't know that story as well as the other two. All right, so the thing about what am I? I'm a literary VTuber. So this goes into content. So given what I do and everything as an audiobook narrator, I am not likely to spend too long and everything. So the time limit that I'm probably going to go is, or my time goal, I guess, is pretty much 4 hours. Some people get crazy with VTubing, and they go on for some marathons of dozens of hours. It seems like dozens of hours at a time. I've seen streams that go on for 10 hours or whichever, and I commend them on their endurance. They're incredible. But I myself, I need to find where the right flow is for me. So I kind of want to say 4 hours is a cap for me. Now, I did receive advice that 3 hours should be the minimum for streams. So I will try to make things go to that length if it's natural. At the same time, who goes to a movie theater or even just a regular theater? Or if you're going out and you want to stop by the bands playing on the street, whichever, do you want to do that for 2 hours or so? There's a limit, I guess. But at the same time, people hop in and out. And that's part of the reason why you have to stretch it out a little bit. So you're going for a long enough time. You're doing enough. So that way, you have enough wiggle room for people to come in and watch what amount they want for as long as they want. So it's all right. It's all good. But 4 hour cap to me seems like for streams, I don't want them to be too long. Like if I have some scenes in my videos and everything for that, like scene excerpts from a couple of books like Jisadai. Or if I made like my fan projects actually is a better example. Those are the longer projects that I've done. So even those, just as streaming content to give, because that's part of why they were made, is like to lend as possible stream content. There's never an expectation they would be done by that streamer, but they were possible things to put on streams, and they were And each of these we're pushing it just as like 50 minutes. 50 minutes, an hour of length. And so some of them flowed better than others, you know. So I think if I'm making something prepared as well, I also have to be conscious of going on too long. Might be crazy. So anyway. But in terms of goals or whichever, I suppose a 4-hour cap, whatever, is not too big a deal, but it's a goal in mind. And don't go longer than 4 hours unless people are throwing donations at you. Make a goal. Well, I suppose I could do that. I suppose I could say well, I suppose that's a moot point right now because I'm not monetized and I won't be until I get 500 subscribers. So it's kind of a moot point. Then again, I can, I guess, link people to my Ko-fi, etc. And people can tip via there as well. But I feel a bit apprehensive about saying, my time is so valuable that I will not go on for too long unless you start paying me little $5 tips here. Because if I did, then, well, I don't know, I would feel a bit rude. A bit rude, but self-important. But at the same time, I do need to make sure my time is valued. And my work, my audiobooks particularly take up a good deal of time every day. But let's see. So, as far as stream counts, right now, my goal is just 2 streams a week. And that might be too few. It might be too few. But we'll see. So, I don't know. But, I think with 2 weekly is just a way for me to ease into it. And right now, that's just the way I'm thinking of it. Start slow. See what I'm comfortable with. See what's feasible, actually. Because audiobooks can take a good amount of time. But at the same time, I'm hoping that if I'm busy, then being busy will help me with keeping things rolling and get me into a better flow of organizing myself for work or having to organize myself more. So we'll see. But right now, it's kind of like, if it's 2 weekly, then maybe like one by myself, alone, and if there is a collab, then I would probably want to just have like 1 collab in a week. Because from what I understand, you really shouldn't, you should allow the audience enough content so they can judge you and compare you, or just see what you were like, not just what you were like with someone else, because those are 2 different things. But some people are better with working with a partner, and some people are better on their own. So I just got to be able to figure that out, and we'll see. But right now, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But please let me know. And welcome new viewers. We got 3 going on right now. Good to have you. But you know, you can let me know your opinion if you think of anything complimenting or counter to my musings. I am Son of Sonnet. I am an audiobook narrator and poet and a somewhat aspiring VTuber, and also just a voice actor in general. So occasionally I might throw out some silly voice or accent, and I might forget what in the world I said, you know. Might go into some direction and then who knows where we'll get lost. I'll get tripped up in the woods or something. So right now, as far as that, so let's go over to character again, just a little bit. So in terms of identity, we have a bit here. So ocean marks are a bit silly, but they are there as something people can use for identifying, and I do need to make sure I give enough for people to have fun with these things, but I don't know their true value, or if their value changes when comparing, say, a male VTuber to a female VTuber. And the difficulties of being a male VTuber is going to be its own challenge, or its own topic, really. Have Pipkin Pippa next week. Tad the chat can pull it. No way. That would be quite an achievement. But there's no way I'd be able to get her, particularly because she is a corporate and everything. And I have no means of really getting their attention. Or really, I'd have to justify it, I think. Because I'm sure they can work with anyone they want. But there's no way that I would be able to just get her on a stream and talk and get her sage advice. Because she is experienced with VTubing. So I'm sure she would be able to give good pointers for myself. But to have that conversation, it would be a lot of fun. I would like it. But right now, as it is, I did a poll for Oshi marks. But the way that I feel about it is that the option that won, I decided not to go with it. Just to make an executive call. So right now it is the performing arts masks and the scroll. These are the two Oshi marks in mind. From what I understand, you don't even need to have two, but it's an option, I guess. Or you can have three, but there's so much clutter and it's all very silly when you have these little emojis on your profiles. I don't quite get it, but here we go. But I decided to scroll just because it covered more ground with everything, and also was a bit closer to the theater aesthetic, because the performing arts is a bit more at the heart of what experience I've actually had with performing. But the scrolls also have that history with Shakespeare and performing in the theater, because you'd have your lines on the scroll to read on the stage and everything. Whereas before it was a pen was the option that won. It was a fountain pen. There's more than one pen, but whatever. I just decided it, even if I say I'm a literary VTuber or whatever, that there is, it's just a more cohesive identity with the scroll, I guess. Or people wouldn't be confused about which pen emoji am I going to use. I can do whatever, you know. But anyway, that's the one thing, so I don't know which one to connect this to. I'm going to, connect it to that one, I guess. Whatever. And let's go into, so because of the identity there. The next one is platforms, I think. So right now, I'm simply performing on YouTube, but I do have Restream set up, so I have to figure out which of two that I want to put together. And right now, there aren't too many good alternatives, but people kind of can form strong opinions. So right now, oh goodness, I hate when this undoes itself. So YouTube is the first, but of course it will have its problems. People will go onto YouTube and they'll have, AI policing or whatever, little bot policing, or mess with people's content or copyright claim, etc., and all the nightmares. But still, where do people go and everything? They go here, usually. And people don't usually go into a side platform like Rumble, for example, unless unless they build enough of a following on YouTube first. Or not just YouTube, but, there's Twitch. I don't think I'm going to use Twitch, but we have an option here of either, say, There's Kick, which is the experimental one. There's Rumble as an option. I'll put Twitch on here just for the list, but I'm going to cross that off in a second. And there's Twitter. I personally don't like Twitter as an option either because I don't like watching streams on Twitter. You're not able to fast forward, and I find that unappealing. So I wouldn't really want to offer that as an option for people when it's not an option I would watch. But you guys can let me know if that would be preferable to you, really. I just think that technically the advantage for using Twitter is that I would have more immediate access or connection to the largest following that I have. And I would basically be doing that. Any stream that I have would go to where I have largest audience, and that's good, you know. I'm not very good at organizing all these different social medias. I have too many under the Son of Sonnet umbrella that I just don't keep up to date. And I need a better way of consolidating them. I don't know how I'm going to make that note, though. But tell me, do you guys have a preference on platforms? On things that are not YouTube? What would you want the second stream to be? Where would you want it to go? Jay, do you go to anywhere else? We'll see. And let's see, so right now, and of course, this is all going to get very, very messy. I guess Kick, but I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to look at it. I am going to have to look at Kick just to see. It seems like it has a bit of a better reputation, but only slightly. It just seems so far my impression is only that it's something that keeps having potential, but is never there. And what's driving it is, of less censorship, but like the main content for it so far, what's the main content on there or whichever. I think the last time I looked at Kick, there was a bunch of hot tub streamers or whichever, which so kind of like the main competitor for Twitch in a way. It's like what it seemed to be designed to be an alternative to, but I could be wrong. But yeah, probably what I'll have to think about. Kick specifically. So we'll keep that in mind, but I will have that bolded just so it's a bit easier to have as the option. Hey, Salvo, welcome. How you doing? If you need to network, Twitch works for VTubers. Kick is still in its infancy. Yeah, I know. But it is an option if you want more freedom and content. So that's a good question. But another J. I watch Kino Casino. They make bank there. I do not have the same tastes as you, Mr. J. I'm glad that they're doing well over there, and I guess that speaks to the potential that they have there. But I gotta figure it out. So I'll keep it in mind. Twitch is like it's kind of like the evil one. That's the evil second best or something. But every time I look at it, there's just something crazy going on. Or like the guy who runs it, I don't know, I feel like he needs like a twirly mustache and everything, because anyway, I just kind of get a bad vibe. But I do understand that there are arguments to be made for its value, like for the audience and everything. Because well, it's got some good features for chat and everything. So yeah, I'll have to start reading. I'll have to start reading, me, Mr. Literary VTuber, being annoyed at having to read like policies and whichever, and seeing what the latest drama is on these different websites. But anyway, let's tuck this aside. Let's see what else there is. Now I need to... Where's my other scalpel? So that settles those. Kick makes its real money off of linked gambling websites. Well, that's good to know. That does not make me feel more comfortable. Let's see, a casino has an established brand, Sonnet doesn't. That is true. If he wants to network, he needs to go where most VTubers are. Sadly, that is Twitch. All right. Well, I will... You make a very sound point, Sawa. And I will listen to Sawa-sama. Sawa-sama, your advice shall be considered greatly. As more important than Mr. J's. I'm sorry, Jay. It has to be done. She is the master. So, let's see. What... In terms of stuff, so what's the next thing I should work on here? I think, let's go to a whole different topic. So, in terms of vibe, I guess. Tone. The tone section. There's different things we can do here. So, I feel like there's a certain amount of... Yes, I'm sorry, Jay. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. But it's all right. I appreciate your input. But what did I have here with tone? I guess what's the atmosphere here? I don't know. What's the goal for atmosphere? I don't know, man. I want people to have fun. I don't want to try too hard with this. I don't want to be obnoxious. Like there's a lot that I feel afraid about trying to do. But me, like the last couple streams I did were like monologues, doing stuff like monologues with Mullington, monologues with Himawari Kotetsu, and kind of just workshopping stuff. And like, oh, that's kind of mundane. It's kind of, I mean, that might be kind of boring for people. And so I'm curious about making a more complicated presentation for things like this, because I would like it to be more entertaining. And I do kind of need to go back into like a few years ago when I did more live entertainment and things on the fly, because I used to do a lot of one-man shows, but there was a sort of formula we followed with the games that I would run, and I kind of need to reorganize all of that structure. I kind of see if it actually works in here, because I don't want to try to put a round ball in a square hole, you know, and things get stuck, you know. But the goal for the atmosphere, I mean, so in terms of options, like there's the cozy atmosphere, there's like the ambient streams when you have the instruments going. Now, I enjoyed that. I do like doing that. And I think there's like there's a value to lend there, and things that I would like to do, but it's sort of like there's a line there. I mean, there's a line there in what kind of content that is. So you see all kinds of things. ASMR, I don't have like the money to buy a big ASMR head, you know, or I know there's the alternative, the 3DO, etc., and that's like $500. But I don't necessarily have like the best setup for that. I could do that. I could explore that. I think in general, I prefer the more complete scenes or something scripted, but I mean, we'll see. And I think that's going to be part of the running challenge, is that a lot of my preferences that probably have a bit more of a lean towards something scripted or prepared. And I kind of need, maybe that's just something I need to get over with, because this will just be something I do that's a little different from everything else I do. And that's fine. So it might just be fun that way. But let's see. So, but in terms of tone, I mean, there's cozy, there's formal. I mean, what do you guys look for when you're going to watch a VTuber? What is it that you're looking for? Do you want something? What do you need? You know. Now that you think about it, my ASMR could be amazing. Well, thank you, Sawa. That means a lot. But it's I think I would have to have that line of the clean of it not being a bit too flirtatious or whichever. Just out of some personal needs. I would not want that. There's a line there I would not want to cross. But at the same time, I might just need to get over some of that, social anxiety or whichever. Or my brand. It's a brand risk. I'll be pitching myself to some authors, and I'll approach a Christian author maybe, and he'll want me to do his new Catholic fiction or whatever, and then he'll look at my backlog of work I've done and see ASMR videos, and then he'll just recoil in horror and disgust, and maybe I'll lose that job opportunity. It's a possibility. I don't know that will actually happen, but it could happen. It would be curious. I find there are usually other signs beforehand. If someone is going to pull back from a project. Although I've had, I do think I have one client who I'm on good terms with, but I think he potentially has made a conscious decision not to hire me, since he found out that I did some books that had sex scenes. Because I've only done a couple. There was one called Timeless by Dana Lyons. That was the first and only royalty contract that I did for ACX. It was my mistake to go into that project not without paying attention to what kind of content it was going to be. But I just wanted to do my first contract through ACX, and I was working with an actual more trad pub sort of client. So it was curious, but I did not realize how raunchy it was going to be. But it was, but I started to find it kind of funny as I kept going with it. So I hope that there's some value in the product. I just know that it didn't sell any, because I can at least look at that and see, did I make any money from this? Did I make a penny? Nope. I did not make a single one. So I'm sorry for her, I suppose, to the author, but yeah, sorry. Yes, Son of Steamy. Oh dear. I should have known what I was getting into, because it's like the typical Harlequin romance cover or whichever. And of course I should have realized that the name Timeless was implying a time travel story. And then things get really weird. And I'm going to have to stop there, I think, because I'm afraid that just describing the plot might break some TOS. It wouldn't, but I worry my skin will start crawling. However, I did get to play some fun characters. There was Raoul, Mr. Raoul, and his friend, the villain of the book, who wanted to commit certain carnal atrocities on the female protagonist. They actually had the most organic relationship of all the characters, just these two heinous villains. Because Raoul goes out, he rides on the horse, and he goes and he commits banditry. He goes and he starts burning down farmland and everything. He's going to commit dangerous atrocities and devalue this land over here. And then the female protagonist does some kind of karate, judo, whatchamacallit, and then kills him. Raoul dies so quickly. It's just, you're there and gone. And then, but the horse, good old horse, or someone else that he's working with that's like a no-name, takes Raoul back to his master. And his friend, this evil, heinous villain, I forget his name, man. But he like goes up to Raoul's dead body, and he has like a crisis of faith. And he's just crying over his one true only friend, the other man that the man who assists him in all of his carnal evils, and locking women up in dungeons, etc. Those two had the most believable, not romantic, but that would make a lot of Fujoshis happy. They had a believable friendship. They were just like two messed up people in the world, and they were always there for each other. I tell you, I mean, I started to understand the main villain a bit more as he grieves over his friend. That's okay, But despite all that, he's still a bad guy, and he still does take a ninja star to the throat, because he deserves it, So I think I have some preference for a formal environment sometimes, but I think I'm kind of torn because it can be a safety net, I guess. When I think of formal or professional, I think of doing a professional show where you stand up and you make the speech and welcome everyone, and please, as you're here, please remember that these are the rules for tonight's entertainment. 1, you are going to look at your partners at your table and you're going to shake their hands. You're going to look them dead in the eye and you're going to say, "Let's win tonight. And we're going to have fun tonight, and hopefully, by the end of tonight, you will find who the true killer is." And whatever that is. But I don't want it to be too much of a shield, I guess, from just relaxing or chilling. And Organic Orchestra stream was pretty chill. I'm glad. I think I may have... I don't know. Did I yammer around too much with that? Hopefully not. But with it, yeah, I think I would like to do that again. Do another Organic Orchestra, or not necessarily, it doesn't have to be Organic Orchestra because that's just one instrument. There are actually several that are just veils. Venus Theory is a good designer for sound and for instruments. So he's got several that are free, that are meant to create auras, etc. He sort of has a design philosophy that things are more going in a direction of atmosphere, ambience. Like, what was it? I'm guilty. I did not properly watch the video. I just saw the title of a video. He's like, the future of sound design is noise or whatever. But the thing is, he made Organic Orchestra, and all those sounds are really beautiful. So I'd like to keep up with that and see how that goes. But yeah, cozy, relaxed, formal, chill. I don't think I can channel a Pipkin Pippa. The chaos that comes in with that. I would probably go too far or be a little crazy. So probably not going to go overboard. But let's see. But I would like to, yeah, we'll see. Here, let me adjust this. So not just ASMR there, but clean, comforting, formal, chill. I mean, I want people to have fun. But we could do other stuff too. I don't know. If I ever went like crazy tantrum or something, I'd probably hate myself afterwards. But as long as people are entertained, it's for a good cause. We lose our humanity for the good of humanity. Anyway. So content. As a connection to tone. And then let's start doing this a bit. So ASMR, I'm going to make caveat, ambience, because that's a fairly natural thing to go into. Let's see, what else do I have over here? So I wonder about educational, because I wonder, Well, lectures. I don't know, man. I have some knowledge of theater and acting, etc. So I do like the idea of lending that perspective, but I think it could be risky. I think there's a certain kind of risk at play there where I could overstate the value of it. My mistake is actually understating my value, but still, the thing about this, like, I don't know. Imagine I want to talk about acting objectives and tactics, etc. And I go and talk to anyone in particular. Sal and I are going to do a collab soon, go over monologues. But I kind of don't want to walk into the room with Sawa and say, hey, Sawa, this is how I'm going to teach you how to act. Miss VTuber, who's, doing pretty well on her channel and everything, and who already acts perfectly naturally. Here, I'm going to pretend I know better or something like that. It's just, I would feel like a douche if I walked into the VTubing scene and just pretended I knew better. And that when people are kind of already doing their own thing, you act the fool. Well, I would like to have a chat with you about what your background and everything is. I hope we can kind of chat a bit more. You've probably said, and I've just missed that stream some time ago. I don't know, but yeah, it'll be fun to talk shop about all that, about acting techniques or going over the script and everything. Especially since, whenever I send you a script or get a commission from you, I want to make sure I'm communicating properly. So that's good. But I still think lectures are an option, so. Jay, you might be right. Lectures, well, I think it's just a matter of partnering. Lectures are, I think it's going to depend on the subject, I had a good time with Mollington, where I think with it, when it's partnering, you just need to kind of let your friend in the scene, let your partner do most of the work and make it about them. Like, your guest should be the highlight in this case. Although, I guess that's awkward in a way if we're both streaming and then we have to feed each other, but boost each other up. That's the goal when you're working with acting partners. But anyway, there's like prep ones, and I kind of want, but in something that's more partner oriented. I think I'd like to adapt some improv games. I have a book that I like. It kind of goes over the principles of improv, and a lot of them are just language games. But I need to make sure that they translate properly, because a lot of them involve more, physical behaviors or working in the room or something, and we just can't translate that physicality into VTuber models or whichever. Especially me, I have no eyes. I'm sure that will that's an interesting challenge on its own, I'm sure. But let's see. So anyway, with content, there's a bit more specific stuff to bring up. So we're going to probably do readings. That in itself will be interesting. Will probably involve Project Gutenberg. And you tell me, do you think it would be appropriately niche to read some obscure old work, like something open source or whichever? Or do you, would it be too dry or too boring if it were like an old philosophy text? Or should it always be fun? Should it always be something that's Like, what was entertainment back in the day? What's an old thing that's on Project Gutenberg that would be fun to listen to? Well, anyway, Project Gutenberg is just a resource. But we got visual novels as well. I'm going to have to start building a collection. I don't have a chatter who's going to gift me like 20 visual novels or 20 Steam games during a stream. What's this guy? What's his name? Anyway, one of the Pui boys has been very generous the past couple of streams, I tell you. Anyway, do you guys have any qualms about readings of text versus visual novels? Do you prefer one to the other? Because I think I have some. I might be lazy in some ways. I might just chalk it up to that. But I think some people have. There's certain standards I see or whatever, like the unique thumbnails that everyone has, because everyone does a really great job with having unique thumbnails, like every single stream or whichever, however they do that. And I kind of don't care about that. It's terrible of me, because I should, right? If it's a prepared, fun event, a prepared, entertaining event, it should be custom to whatever it is. But I feel like I don't have that drive to make something incredibly like Photoshop quiche. What do you call it? Well, you might have like the little photoshopped expressions onto the VTuber model or whatever, and then some special mix of different pics or whatever. But I'm afraid of being too lazy and having like just a wall of text behind me on the stream and just kind of pretending that that's enough. I mean, granted, you can't do much else, but I'd kind of like to have some way of randomizing the image if it's going to be like boring text or something. Or maybe I just need to mess with filters or such, so I vary the background on a given stream depending on what is being read. Because I like the stage background that I have, and that's sort of like a basic template for everything. Free Canva accounts, and use the templates there. That's might be good to look into that. Yeah, and another J, you've never messed with VPNs at all? Well, it is I suppose it's an acquired taste. I could use AI to make fast backgrounds. I am apprehensive about doing that. I understand. There are some arguments people could make for it. I am in the camp of I want to avoid AI as much as possible, especially since I am a voice actor and have had like a running fear of my voice being scraped or used for stuff without my permission or something like that. Which, strictly speaking, I would never really give it my permission for my voice to be used for AI. That's my personal stance on that. I mean, granted, I do work with Isaac, and Isaac does make AI images to go along with the audiobook work that I do for him. But I do know that he would prefer to hire artists if he had enough of an income. And I think it's probably best just to consider the long-term goals and just kind of position with that. Be a bit holistic. This is a slow start for a long-term achievement. So how to integrate being a VTuber and somehow be completely natural. I'm going to be the literary VTuber who's going to read all of these wonderful stories and have like this little text on the screen and all this and do whatever, different kinds of presentations or shows or jokes, etc. These serious things. But yeah. There's a whole host of different kinds of VNs, so I think there's enough variety to really get out of it. I think there might be a downside with doing mostly readings, and that might be more of a technical limitation. Because let's say I commit 100% to doing a bunch of readings of VNs, etc. If let's say I marathoned that and I did like a whole month of nothing but VNs or something, I would probably I don't know, I could get really, really diligent and I could work on that like every day, do a stream of some reading or whatever. I probably would wear my voice out for the audiobooks. So I will need to do something that probably does not involve reading some kind of text. Being all natural may be a selling point. Some people are already sick of AI slop. My voice would in fact die, Saul. You are right. Yes, I've heard your voice. Well, you've been doing all right, but I am, I think, not as disciplined in terms of coffee and everything because I have it too often, and like my voice is always in like a dangerous place where I could go crazy or something, and I could make a mistake and do some damage to it. Like I did a book recently. It's called The Tortured Kingdom, and it is going to come out soon, either this week or the next. But I did like a couple of the gravelly voices. I did the grainy. I did the grainy voices, and I had a lot of just vocal fry for characters. And unfortunately, and I fear, now, if I'm hard on myself and I'm doubting my performance, I want you all to know that I have a tendency to be too hard on myself. So don't take it as an honest assessment of me being of lower quality. I just have an unreasonable fear. But I do worry that this one character might not be consistent enough or whatever because his voice will be too gravelly, and then some days when I need to perform the character, I'll need to change it a little bit depending on whatever he's expressing so that I don't tear my vocal cords out, you know. I can hurt myself being careless. And one day I will stop drinking caffeine, and I will not have that fear anymore of being harmed by doing all of these crazy voices.
But, on the other hand, what I may benefit eventually from indulging in these evil, horrible voices, and as I do so, eventually one day, as I grow old and withered, I may be able to make a name for myself as these broken husks, these evil characters.
Or hopefully, my voice might age like Norm Macdonald's or whichever. And people won't mind. Man, I actually do need to be careful. I'm hurting myself. Yeah, I do need to be more careful. I will have to stop doing gravel, vocal fry stuff on voices. And I ran into that problem with the recent book. So I was, or not book, but it was The Last Human. It was season 2 as I was working on. And there's a character named General Chiron, who is a formidable character. Aesthetically, he's basically General Grievous from Star Wars. Not to be too simple or flippant, but that was actually a direct comparison that Isaac gave to me. So I say it with meaning. So, but the thing is, I went through like 3 different interpretations of the character to try and find the right voice. So I didn't know that I was supposed to do it like a General Grievous until the 3rd time, but still, like the first voice I gave him was that low and gravelly sort of thing. And that was too, like the gravel was painful, but then got to adjust and did it again because I was hurting my voice. And
went down into the EVR voice, or what I call the EVR voice, because there's a character with that name. And I enjoyed it, and I like that, and it's safer, or I can do a bit more with more extensive recordings with it.
And I recorded so much of all those lines. I did all of his lines in that voice. And he felt so bad asking me to do it again. But we had to. It's like, I need him to be more like Gendy Tartakovsky's version of Grievous. And then I think we found it. Because he does appear in the most recent chapter that was released. And it's more of it's a more cunning sort of thing. The joke of the character seems, not the joke, he's not a joke, but the fun thing about the character is he seems to be like aesthetically very villainous, but is actually one of the characters of virtue. But anyway, he's like, "Run, Jedi, run. You will only prolong the inevitable," is whatever Grievous says in that Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon from 2003, which was the only good portrayal of General Grievous. But anyway. The Last Human was a great. Big part of that is my performance. Thank you, another J. That means a lot. I will, eventually, this is going to be one of my challenges, is that as I get more things on my plate, and as I try to do more of my own stories, and streaming, and also other people's audiobooks, I'm trying to learn the keyboard and the MIDI keyboard, the MIDI controller that I have, just a 37 key controller. And my hope is that I'll eventually learn that properly, get a better sense of it, and then I can start making some background ambient tracks or music tracks to accompany projects that are like The Last Human. And hopefully specifically we'll circle back to that work and be able to provide like the ambience tracks for specific chapters. Although I think I've told him I think it would be wise if those tracks, should they be made, are kept on like Patreon where he has his account. Just so it's a special thing that his subscribers can have that's unique to everything else, to just watching it on YouTube, for example. At the same time, because when you watch it on YouTube, it's more of a traditional audiobook experience. I know he wants to call it a live show, but really what the structure of it is the same as any audiobook that I've done. It just happens to have the AI picture allowing it to be a video format for a YouTube release. That's just how it is. Not to speak ill of the product. That's just kind of the nature of it. Now, in terms of content, but let's go into the other kinds of content that I'll do, or that I will probably do, that is not readings, so I don't kill myself. I have a list of games here. What were the... Yeah, that's right. Well, not a ton, but the things that I kind of like to do or would like to try, Now, I say puzzle games are an option, but I don't know how true that actually is. I think it's something I want to be true about myself that may not actually be true. And so I think what's going to happen is I'm going to start playing puzzle games and be absolutely terrible at them. But that will be part of the joy of experiencing it. One, just humility, I guess. And the other, just other people getting to see me fail miserably at puzzles or whatever. Because what is it? There are all kinds of puzzle games that are just incredibly obtuse. What is the game? Animal Well is apparently a very fun game from what I've heard. But I just happened to I decided to look into it and see what the hype was about. And people started talking about the final reveals that require an incredibly insane level of attention to very minute things. So there's like one area on the map or whatever where you have to go. It's like end screen, end screen, end screen. Go left, 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 like up, 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 down, 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 whatever, in order to get like a secret message from the developer to say like, here are the credits to the game or something like that. And it's like to end the game requires actually going on to internet forums to ask other people, were you willing to explore this thing under the assumption that there was an answer, and just trusting. And I guess to the credit of the designer, apparently there is an answer for pretty much anything that looks like it has one, but at the same time, I probably don't have the patience to go through all that. But I should challenge myself. And, if I do enough puzzle games, maybe I will become more intelligent. More intelligent is impossible. Blech. Evil. Strategy games, I think, are... And I say that, but I think the last one that I played was Unicorn Overlord, which is also kind of in the vein of things I like. In terms of aesthetic, and there's a bit of that, not VN style, but basically Vanillaware games are all very enjoyable. And I've also played Aegis Rim, or what's it called? Sentinel, what's it called? It's a very complicated name, but it was a game they did before Unicorn Overlord. 13 Sentinels, that was it. I liked that a lot. That was very good fun, very good story. But still, yeah. Strategy games, RTS, I'm not saying I'm great at them, but I enjoyed them. And RPGs, I wonder, I do not have the best computer, so I do not know how crazy that's going to go. So I might do something more like, what do you, StarCraft 2 playthrough? I don't know. I think that would be the real test, actually, on whether I can really say that I like strategy games or not. There are some strategy games that are palatable to me, probably because of their aesthetic or the story around it. That's kind of why I say Unicorn Overlord or Fire Emblem, etc. But anything is worth trying once, right? And if you don't like it, then you won't continue doing it. But you gotta find the balance. But yeah, RPG, turn or action. Yeah, because my favorite my favorite series is the Xenoblade series. I am very fond of it. Where is... See that. What else is there? I guess another thing is, training. I guess there are gimmick training streams. Now, the thing is, there are some things that I have to work at or improve so that I can offer more specific utilities. So some of those training streams are basically like learning the MIDI keyboard, things like that. And so that was part of the value of just messing around with Organic Orchestra. I did like doing that, but there's only so much value to, say, meandering with that one tool for 4 hours, and just being a beginner. Or like if every time that I approach that skill or use this tool again, like each time I'm just a beginner messing around with it, I think it would get stale pretty quickly. So, or I'm just being self-conscious. But I am just curious. But like another gimmick of improving at something is like female voices. So I can't always hire an esteemed compatriot, one of my comrades, to voice all the female characters, or well, I don't really do that for most projects, but I do like to actually have an authentic voice for female characters. And Sawa does an amazing job with Aes Sedai 1 and Aes Sedai 2 by Daniel P. Riley. She plays the characters Hannah in Aes Sedai 1. Also, she plays Hannah and Akina in Aes Sedai 2. And you can see examples of her performance on my channel with the trailers for those books. She does a phenomenal job and heightens the quality of the works. And I'm chatting with the author for Aes Sedai 3, and hopefully all of that will be, he's going to get the lines organized, so hopefully we can do another commission, but we'll see. Whatever, if Sawa has the schedule for it, then I'll hire her for it, or at least I'll send the offer, and we'll go from there. Prank phone calls to Indian call centers. Jay, I don't think so. It sounds like a funny idea. I fear the repercussions. Perhaps I'm just a coward. I do the female alien voice in The Last Human, yes. There are a couple filters that I use on the Rodecaster.
And when I have to speak as English, hopefully you can hear the effect right now. But I just have this active as I do her lines. I try my best to act the character and to read properly. And just give it a go. And if I have two different buttons as well. So there's when she's speaking telepathically, and there's when she drops it. When she has to speak with her own voice. And she does that a bit more in season 2, because she gets a bit fed up a couple of times and gets put under a lot more duress. Or one time she actually has to scold Vass a bit just to get him to pay attention to a lesson.
But I have other characters, other old lady voices I have to do, and basically every single female voice that I do, I don't generally, I don't usually pitch up with the Rodecaster. What I do is I pitch up in post. If I had more up-to-date hardware, then I would most likely try to record in a higher sample rate. And then I would, supposedly, I would have a more convincing change of pitch. Because if you, that's supposed to be the case, as far as I understand, where if you record in a higher sample rate, because I can only record at the max on the Rodecaster is 48 kilohertz, in which this is just generally a good sample rate to record at. But you can go say, what was it, 96 kilohertz or whichever. If I could get something to get a preamp, an interface to record at 96 kilohertz or whichever it was. And then what you do is you sample down in the export of the file. So if it's something like, so every audiobook that you upload onto ACX is at 44.1 kilohertz. It has to be, it can't be anything else, but you can record in a higher sample rate, and generally that maintains the quality. And I see my female voice drove a viewer away. I'm sorry. Farewell. Hope you come back. But that's all right. So you see, there's the danger, of me playing a lady. Different authors have different perspectives on the pitch shifting. So I never pitch shift more than one semitone, because pitch shifters are not very good. They're all kind of garbage. And I just kind of want them to be as convincing as possible. If they're not, then like, hopefully the distinction that's made whenever people listen to an audiobook that I do, if I'm playing a female character, that it's just part of the illusion that they will accept. And that it's, hopefully the emotion is still conveyed accurately for the character. Because people go and watch a show and you got a guy doing a silly voice, or whichever. What matters is that the acting is authentic. Silly accent or not. So that's just my hope with the female characters, is that I'm acting them properly. But I do run into those challenges where I have to scream, I have to shriek, I have to do something like that, where my voice simply cannot do it. And those are always challenges, or I have to find some nuance to the performance to make that more convincing. But there might be a day where I have to do like a whole stream being a lady or something like that. Speaking of which, there is a gimmick that I kind of want to explore, and I don't think the tech is actually there for it right now, which is interesting, I guess. But I have like a secondary character. I have a partner in crime. So if you ever see the intermission loading, or if you see the ending screen for the stream, when that plays, there is myself and there is a female character. And the female character is someone that I also have a backstory in mind for. She has a role to play in the narrative I want to tell. Like, I want to tell stories about these characters as they go around, and they also tell stories. They are actors, and they're traveling the world, and they are kind of exploring folklore of their world. But she is a character, and I want her to be a good character, but I kind of want... what I want is a setup where I can have a guest who plays that character, who can be that character in the stream, and just we can riff together as our characters doing whatever we're doing. And I would like to have that person just call in and be able to play as that character, and have like a rigged model still move with relation to that caller's voice, effectively. That's what I would like. I really don't think it's possible. But I could be wrong. I just need to kind of explore and maybe ask some questions about things. But I'd like to eventually get like a second model made for that character. But even if that is not going to happen, like a second model, her presence will be felt in emotes, etc. I do have emotes, but I don't believe I'm able to set emotes right now until I am monetized. So they are prepared for that eventuality. But her name, should it be necessary, her name is, and I actually just changed her last name like yesterday because I liked the sound better. But her name is Megumi Kirino. And she's basically my character's girlfriend. I just kind of wanted to have that as an element of their lore and their ongoing story. Just there was something about having a partner in crime, as it were, a partner in that journey, that meant something to me. But Megumi is the first name. There were some voice actors that I had kind of glanced at. I kind of forget which was the initial inspiration, because I've had Megumi in mind as a name for a long time. But Megumi, also meaning grace, etc., fit more to me because it was she was a dancer in my mind, at large part. Like, she has a history working in the circus, and so kind of being a traveling dancer, etc. And then when she and Tad meet, they decide to form a troupe on their own and then start traveling the world, and she gets to engage in like a new goal of trying to play every single character that she can. And I sort of like that idea. But Kirino is also just a reference to a female writer. She's, I forget her other name, but she was like a female writer, a Japanese writer of detective fiction. And I thought, well, anchoring that to a real person felt nice, but I also liked it. So yeah, Tad and Meg. Meg being a decent Irish name as well. But Megumi is just a pleasant name to me as well. So I think of her more as Megumi rather than Meg. But she is from, like, in terms of the lore of the fictional setting, Megumi is from the country where Tad's parents went and where they got the name Tadashi that they ended up giving him. So the reason that he's named that is because his parents went there, and like that's where his parents fell in love or got married. And Megumi has a similar enough situation where her parents went to his country and I think either got married or got engaged at like a certain place where they bond as characters. So Megumi kind of goes on her journey across the world with the circus, and then meets Tad, and they fall in love, and then start traveling the world together. And that's basically the concept of the two. But and so their essences are intertwined, as it were. But she'll primarily be emotes and such. But I'll have her marked as like a future rig. Something to figure out there, because it would be fun. There's a downside to that plan, because I kind of want. I have this notion of having, say, a guest come in and play this character during a scene, or say I write a scene for these characters to interact in, or whatever, and we're just doing like a live performance, as live as we can, as a call over Discord or whatever. And we do a performance for a stream. But the sorry, I lost my place. The downside is, like, you have a guest on stream. I think generally with collabs, people probably want to maintain their identities for like their own character and their own brand. So I don't know if it's a good argument. I don't know if it's a good thing to ask someone who's coming in to play something that's not their character, you know. Like, imagine I had the dream scenario that Jay, you were thinking of earlier. It was like, here, get Pippa on. That'll be really easy to do. But imagine if Pippa came on and I had her play like a whole different character or something. Or I asked that. I imagine that would be kind of offensive in some way. Or if I asked Sawa to come on and say, hey, well, that would be different. Because Sawa is a voice actor. And I think she would be able to do that without qualms, but at the same time, it's like, I wonder if it's offensive to ask the question. Would you like to collab, come on, and be a whole different character than you usually are when you stream? I'm a bit iffy on that. So but it's a thought. It's something I want to explore. And I just liked the idea that this character was Megumi is trying to play like as many characters as possible. So I like the idea that she would sound different anytime that she appears, just because that might be in her nature to goof off a little bit, or to try to sound different, or to play with voices. And so I like hearing all the different voices that people can do, like hearing these different sounds. So anyway. me set that aside for a second. So, Scample is the software I'm using. All right, let me drink some water. There's a whole... I'm going to make a little side thing here with the learning streams. I'm just going to make the whole list, all right? Here, let me... Things that I might do learning streams for. And I'm a little afraid of this list because I think what might happen is that I make this list too big and then I just make myself look incompetent to anyone passing by for any like given thing that I'm trying to learn or do better at. Because don't you know you need to fake it till you make it? Nah. But let's see, what was the list I had here? So, things I want to practice. I had the list somewhere here. My own little... Oh, these are a bit... Learning how to teach. Oh, goodness. Things I want to do better at. Writing. Oh, I want to improve at writing, video editing. I think I'm all right with editing audio, but I need to actually learn some things like DaVinci, you know. Not great at video editing, and that would be a good skill to have. And this learning list is just here because of a general concern that I will need to do most of any of this myself. For instance, practicing drawing, etc., is something that I'm enjoying. But some of it is just like I don't really have the money to spare. I just don't have the money to spare for hiring people. But I would still like to have authentic things. So I would personally rather have like to draw my lousy thumbnails or whatever. Like have a drawing for any time I have a guest or whatever. Just like do a little drawing of their heads or something. And I think that would be enough. But it would be nice to, you know, have a stream or whatever. I don't know. You guys let me know your opinion. Do you prefer that people just kind of practice things off stream and then come back and surprise people with their progress? Like to check in every now and then? Or do you think it's okay to have many streams about practicing a specific skill? Because it's sound design. Sound design will go into relate to some goals. And singing will be kind of crazy. So yeah, there's that. I'll put that there for now. I'll get this adjusted. I see views are at 12, but we have three concurrent viewers, so welcome. I am Son of Sonnet. I am a voice actor, audiobook narrator, and poet. And aspiring VTuber.
So I'm very curious about how I'm going to pursue this avenue, or this hobby, as it were. Because right now, what is VTubing? Right now, VTubing is a hobby to me. Until there's some potential monetary incentive. I'm just going to put the word hobby there. Because I would like to be able to do this in a more professional capacity, but it's a process. And now we only have 2 viewers. I should not number count. It's alright.
But this is a thing. So, let's see, what else do I got here? Do you guys have any questions? Let's do it, goals. So, now let me delete that one. All right, so long-term goals. So I have a goal in mind. I would like to. Let me put LT here. Long-term goal. I would kind of like to be ambitious. I would like to become a sound designer for a VTuber company. Now that is a bit ambitious. How old are you? How old am I?
I'm over the hill. I'm in the last half of my life, and I'm going to enjoy it as much as I can and succeed as much as I can in this brief window that I have.
I'm in my 30s, but as far as the character of Tad, that is, he's in his 20s. He and Megumi are in the 20s. So you can read into that however you like, but I just felt that their story required them to be younger. But hopefully I hope it's all right. And if this can work out for me, then great. If it can't, that's okay too. But I gotta give it an honest shot, and we'll see. But I would kind of like to become a sound designer, and part of that is just because I am sometimes listening to voice packs, really, and I feel like they could be better. And so I would just like to see, part of me just wants to make them. I just want to make them for people, or to see what I can do. How can I make the quality of this thing better? Or how can I get involved with that? I kind of want to do that, just in some way, because I don't think that an audio adventure or an audio narrative that you experience should just be like a date. Now I laugh and I joke and I enjoy Tenma eating cucumbers and cabbage and everything. It's wonderful. She is heavenly, and she's actually very good at voice packs. But I think that there is more that you can have, or there's a higher quality, a higher standard that's not really being pursued. And I think there's room for improvement with things like voice packs. So I'm curious about what can be done with that, and I would like to see what I can do for that. In terms of other goals, another goal is I need a second model rigged for this character. And probably one for Megumi, even if she is an attachment, like an item attached to mine. Because I kind of like I think I like the idea of her being like a little chibi character that's on my shoulder or something. I think that would be kind of cute. Oh yeah, I kind of like that idea. Let's see, and another one. I have to upgrade my computer because I am thankfully able to run the software that I need to de-click my audio or to remove background noise and everything. But it could be better. I have a mid-tier gaming laptop from 2021, so I need to improve it. There's
it's useful enough for my needs, but in the long run, as games are becoming more taxing, etc., and a lot of software for editing audio is also getting taxing, it's important for me to upgrade. And actually, I apologize if there are mouth clicks. Please let me know. I have the software to declick or to have that live, but it seems to push my computer pretty hard when I have it as a filter for my microphone audio on OBS. So I right now I have that disabled. So I probably have mouth clicks that are audible that can be heard. If it's egregious, let me know, and I will turn that feature on just in case. But otherwise, I'm gonna leave it alone. And that. What goals do you think I should have? What would you recommend that I try to pursue? All right, I'm glad there aren't any voice clicks. Thank you. And who knows? That might be a bad thing for anyone looking for ASMR or whichever. I personally hate mouth clicks. They gross me out. And the other thing I don't like from ASMR usually is the finger swishes that people do. But that's a whole other conversation. ASMR is a pretty broad umbrella term for a lot of things that can be done. Well, I have good. You got a good plan and set of goals. Well, thank you. I think it's doable. There are like a couple of basic things that need to be done. It would be nice to get a higher quality model for my character, but right now I just need to build good habits and good practices. NPR can be gross with mouth sounds. I agree. Although I don't really listen to NPR, but mouth sounds are not usually considered, I guess. People don't often think about them enough when, say, they upgrade to certain kinds of microphones that accentuate them. That was something that I guess Sam Hyde was talking about or whatever, some brief period that was like months ago. There was some video where he's actually sending out a question of like, what should I do? Like, what kind of microphone do you recommend or whatever? Because you get a treble boosted microphone, you're going to have something like a bunch of mouth clicks, and a lot of microphones are kind of treble boosted. So it's a common problem, but it's not too bad. It's fine. But we just kind of put up with it within post and having to. Actually, it's a pain actually, because I have to edit all of the audio. I spent like 3 hours editing today, and most of my job is I run a declicker over the whole audio file, but then I gotta listen to the whole audio, and I gotta have my ear out for mouth clicks, and whenever there is one, I have to zoom in to that very small variation in the waveform, and I have to repair it manually, and it's just a very tedious process, but it's okay. It's just part of it. All right, let's see what else we got. Atmosphere, teaching. I have some experience with stage combat. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna have this to the side right now because I don't know what to do with that necessarily. I kind of don't know what to do with it.
it might be fun just to watch some fight scenes or whatever sometime. I just kind of examine the fight choreography. I think sometimes people don't understand different thought processes or who has the authority, really, on what choices are made. So, it just might be fun to look at. So music is custom. We got jazz. Right now it's jazz. Although I could easily change that. Cinematic and classical. Yeah. So this music is probably what is likely to be played. I'm gonna need to put folk in there as well. I'm not the biggest fan of the YouTube audio library, but I do have a good chunk of it downloaded. But these are the things that would be played on my streams, most likely. Custom just being if I ever get around to making my own music, because I would prefer to actually just play it and record it and have my own things. We got jazz, cinematic, classical, folk. That's kind of what I find tolerable. I guess there's rock music. I just kind of download from the YouTube audio library because of what I'll probably use in some project. So I was just downloading things that I thought would work in fan projects when I worked on those. Speaking of which, I probably won't be able to do fan projects anymore. But I don't know. It's a tricky thing. So I'm just gonna say probably can't do fan projects anymore. And like this is the trade-off of trying to become a VTuber or messing around with this, because how to put it, these are my peers, or people I want to be my peers, and there should be a degree of respect. And if I did fan projects, then it could give an impression that I don't want to give, even if I don't intend it that way, and even if I'm completely well-meaning in anything that I create, then it might seem like I'm trying too hard to get attention, or it could look like me riding on people's coattails. There is some degree of like some honest perspective, I guess, that a good chunk of, say, my YouTube followers are probably people that clicked subscribe because they saw a fan project I did for Pipkin Pippa, who is someone I genuinely like, and she's my Yoshi. But being a VTuber, I wonder if I wouldn't really be allowed to do a fan project again. Or if I did, I'd probably have to do it under a pseudonym or something. Probably. So, I mean, hopefully I can participate with the magazine again. The fan magazine. I have a video where I kind of just read the poems that I contributed to that. But I think I might have to ask what KKZoo thinks. Because if I do, then if I am able to participate in the future, and if it's not a conflict of interest of sorts, then I might just have to do it under a pseudonym. Just so it has that PR feeling, I guess, of respectful distance. You can't really... Yeah, it'll have that impression. It'll have like a stink to it. So I want to be respectful. But at the same time, I do want to celebrate people's successes or while they're doing. I mean, heck, today I just shared like a drawing or whatever. This, I feel bad because it could have been better, could have been better work, but this is one of those annoying things where it's like, can't I just be a fan of a peer and say, hey, good job, doing great? But yeah, sorry, getting distracted by all that.
All right then. And I think all of this, I think we're winding down with this right now, and I'll probably have to come back to it.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to come back down to this later. So this will be good. This is... Let me pull this up though. Save as, or can I change the name of this? Okay. Okay. All right, I'm going to close this. So this is kind of what I had for my outline then of things. There's a whole bunch of space here that should be filled. But how you guys feeling? You think I'm missing anything? I know, Jay, you said you already gave your approval, but if you think that I'm missing anything, please let me know, all right? And I'll just give you a minute. There probably is something. But anyway, if you guys are watching the stream on 2x speed, perhaps, you let me know. Leave a comment, and I'll get back to it. All right. Well, let's move on to something else for a little bit of stream, I think. Let's do something different. We've been going on for about 2 hours now. Let's do something else to wind down. So we're going out away from the outline now. And let me go ahead and get Krita up. And we'll see how well this goes. Because I think I'd like to draw something. Yeah, it's good. Let's just start. I'm afraid that I'm just going to get stuck on the list, And I want to not get paralyzed in fear of it, But it is likely that I will get some nerves about it. I guess it's a whole other scalpel document, but there is the characterization of what kind of persona you want to bring to a show. Because I can do upbeat stuff. I can do more active, energetic stuff. The video that I narrated that has the most views of anything I've done was upbeat instruction for, hey, Clanker upstairs, good to see you. The video that I've narrated that got the most views in the millions was a Minecraft tutorial for a Ukrainian YouTuber. He hired me on Fiverr, and people were kind of debating in his comment section about whether I was an AI or not for the longest time. Apparently that's what really drove all the views, but still, that was an example of me doing something more upbeat. And it's in the playlists for my channel. It's in the voice work playlist. It's like the first one on there for anyone that wants to
to hear that or hear something different. All right, we're gonna move on from this. Let me change this. Yeah, we got, yeah. Hi, boss. Yeah, referring to our evil scientist. So let's get this done. Okay. Do you guys like any VTubers? Nah, you can't tell her to stop jump scaring you. Then she'll then you'll know she'll appear. If she knows you don't like it, she'll start hunting you down. Let's see. Let's just practice some drawing. Let's play with something. So I don't know yet what to start. Let's make something. So there was a very goofy idea that came up. Do I want you to make a list of all the VTubers you sim for? You have my permission. This is one of the few streams where I will lend such permission, I guess, because it's usually not good to talk about too many things off topic. But this is kind of a brainstorming stream about what goals I should have or how well I'll fit in with this environment. What's, me having like a realistic expectation of everything. Like, is it really possible for me? Or what are good practices? What are good things to do? That's just me kind of wondering that. Well, that's we're kind of moving on from that. And so I'm just kind of going to mess around with drawing a little bit and give my voice a little bit of a rest. And we will probably wrap up around midnight. I think that's my goal for tonight. I know it's going to be like 2.5 hours instead of 3, but I don't feel like staying up too late. All right, but I gotta pick something. Okay. The YouTube audio selection's got a nice, it's got an interesting selection, but Mexican music is good too. It's cool. I like it. Let's see. All right, so let's just mess around right now. So, Mr. Kotetsu is your Hoshi? As he should be.
He's a cool guy. I need to start doing the rounds and look at other male VTubers. Let's see. So let me start with the most basic shapes. Okay, so, and this will be deleted or drawn over. There was a very silly thing that someone said, and I feel like it needs to be whatever. So I don't know if it's like, okay, and then this is like the car, I guess. some such. Ah, nonsense. Alright, let's see. Oh, wait. I need to change stuff. So let's say Vtuber is your favorite genre, but it never gets the funny numbers. Yeah, you got I mean just male VTubers in general. Yeah, there is a certain challenge in pursuing this because male VTubers, well, the main audience for VTubers is like young men. Well, not necessarily young men, but when I say that, it's more like 20s, 30s, but men, you know. As far as I know, they're usually single as well. So, we got this, and we got, oh, what is the, nah, let me, because it should be like there and then. And then you should be like, oh, I feel really stupid. I feel really stupid drawing this. What the hell am I drawing? Of course, I drew in the wrong layer. All right. All right, so one step at a time. We've theorized that while girl VTubers get a buff compared to flesh guys, get a debuff from us subconsciously distrusting any guy who hides behind a mask. Well, that's an interesting thought, because if you go to see a show, let's say you go to see a show, male actors are playing other characters, or they might wear masks. Or if you or we even have historical precedents with things like Commedia dell'arte, where the masks is part of the character, etc. You have masquerades, etc. And that doesn't really seem to detract all that much from the meaning that people get from those experiences. But I guess you could go into a stream and have a different perspective of people. Like, not, you don't go into a stream thinking that they are an entertainer, and you go into it expecting them to be a regular guy, so you might have those natural assumptions about whether someone is suspicious because he hides his face or not, or something, or whatever. But I think most people, I don't know. What's your opinion? If you go watch a stream, do you think they're being themselves, or do you think they're being a character? Do you think they're being genuine or not? Because I think we probably don't see them as, like, they're usually playing something up.
right? They're not usually themselves. But maybe I'm wrong, because I think that's something I see with VTubers, is that a lot of them sort of have the pretense of being a character, but they really are just being themselves. Or maybe that's false. Because even though they're not playing the character, they're still not really being genuine with what they're doing. Yeah, but mask wearers is a very niche thing to compare to, I think. Well, yes. I think it's... What interests me is the way people perceive streaming, I guess. Because you have... How to put this? I guess it depends on what streaming really is to most people, or whatever. So, what kind of streams do you watch? Just people hanging out, or do you like to watch people playing a video game or something? Or what do you do? YouTubing is a weird phenomenon where the extra layers of safety from the model gives confidence to expose parts of themselves they wouldn't normally. Yes and no. It's not a particularly weird phenomenon. This is just theater. It's not altogether unusual. It's pretty standard. It's pretty normal. It's just acting. It's playing. To me, honestly, streaming has more to do with theater than, say, streaming has to do with movies or something. You know? People go on, they put a persona on for whoever they're streaming to. Whether they have a VTuber model or not, you know, they might have a VTuber model and that gives them like a pretense of a character or something to illustrate the personality that they want to bring to an environment. But a lot of times if you're interacting with a streamer or whatever, you're usually watching them play a game. They are playing a game. They are gaming. This is one of the few instances where like the action they're doing is also the thing itself. So when you watch a play, you're watching people play a play. And theater is just like, it's one of the oldest forms of storytelling. Might be debatable as to whether theater kind of existed when people were doing like tribal chants and songs, etc. But it's still kind of that. But then it kind of goes into theater almost immediately. And like it's a different kind of theater, yes. But the person's stage, like a stage is just your frame of reference for the playing that occurs. So it doesn't always have to be a proscenium arch, but a proscenium might be a good comparison to your computer screen. Right, but by parts, I mean specifically, you mean specific personality quirks and information stuff you'd normally confide in a friend, but they put out there? Well, that's what I mean by the theater nature of it. People do this. When they go into theater, they find that cathartic outlet when they play characters. When they play a role in a play or in a movie, they get that opportunity for catharsis, to express themselves differently. I do, personally, yeah. I'm kind of a shy fellow. I'm pretty introverted. But this is my permission when I perform something. It's my permission to act out or to relax and express myself and do different things, you know. Well, shoot, I have all these proportions and no pose. But that basically is that. So it's very theater, and it's very normal. Like, we all have our frame of reference for like rules or whatever, how we're allowed to behave. And like, so just playing
a character or being on a stream or whatever, you have the idea that you are the entertainer sometimes is enough to allow you to express yourself differently or to play something differently. So this is just ordinary. It's like ordinary theater. I don't think a guy is particularly less trustworthy because he is willing to be honest that it's a character. I think it's a bit more deceptive to pretend that you are, say, the outgoing guy and you're not playing a character or whatever. The whole border of being an identity between online name and real person is a big theme for songs in their space, yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a trade-off that's occurring. Okay, so what I want to do, there is like a, but I don't want it to be a flat image. Let me make a new one. And then alright. Whatever. Okay, so we have terrible. I think I might just disagree about whether there's any kind of threat assessment to have, because you consciously go into an environment where you're watching a streamer, and that is like you're either going in for entertainment or for education of some sort. I don't know if has there ever been a stream where I've watched someone and felt scared of them, of the person talking. I mean, anything like that would just be accepting the illusion that's offered to me. Like, I remember being... I think one time I was really affected by a stream was one time when Tenma almost had a heart attack. And so that was really terrifying for me because that was something that was too real. That was a direct result of her playing a game. But so I wasn't participating anymore at that point. But again, it's just like you're going in and seeing some guys putting on some kind of personality or emphasizing some trait or whatever. He might be playing a character or be trying to accomplish something by doing stuff. Let's see, unfortunately, I have this. What I need to do is have like the emphasis of the gesture. I am no good at drawing, man. Sorry, this is it. What I want to do. So, got like a hand here or whatever. I guess it's more, it is weird though, if say you have a guy who is like videotaping himself, but he's wearing a mask or something. I guess that can be weird, you know? when someone does like a really unprofessional video, like having a camcorder or whichever. Right, there's a lot of setup to go into watching someone. I'm just saying I don't quite resonate with the idea that there's an instinctual distrust of a male performer because he's wearing a mask or playing a character. Or like, say that a male VTuber is triggering any kind of fear or distrust because he's specifically having a character, you know. I mean, you might have a point. I just think I'm not connecting with it at the moment. So I think it's just let me get this one here instead. Just like it's like widen the legs or whatever. What the heck am I drawing? No, you don't mean having a character, but having a moving anime model. Well, I think the only discomfort that would be caused, or like from seeing it, is some just general distaste for cartoons. I think, like personally, if I see that a guy has an animated moving anime model, I have a very clear upfront idea of what he is or what he's doing, you know? And I can either say, hey, he's, you know, well, sorry. So I don't think there's anything necessarily fearful or anything that inspires fear from seeing that. And I don't think it really, and even if it's not fear, it's like, I don't think it necessarily triggers any disgust in me just from seeing that there is a cartoon anime model or whatever from someone talking compared to a regular streamer. Because if I was thinking of disgust specifically, I might be more disgusted by seeing who they are in real life, depending on how well they keep themselves. At least the anime model or whatever is maintaining the illusion. Sorry, I'm probably not addressing your point very well here. My brain is on trying to poorly draw. No, but we have, like, imagine we have person here. Okay. Oh my gosh. Like a leg. What the heck? I guess let me save that for work in progress. Do I think I'm more open to it from being involved in performing arts? I mean, I do have a specific frame of reference. Yeah, so I see streaming. I look at streaming from a point of view with my experience in theater. But And I guess I've grown up watching cartoons, you know? So, like, I know people's biases from not liking cartoons, or they assume something is childish because it has that quality, but there's a difference between, say, childish and unprofessional. And I think there's just, maybe it has to do with my education and just, having some kind of higher tolerance for it, or having more distinctions drawn in. A lot of people, if they have some kind of disgust or whatever or some kind of anti-reaction to seeing a VTuber or whatever, it might just come from a bias at some point, or like lack of exposure. For me, like I respect it more because I've grown up with the internet as well, so I respect the need for anonymity and everything. And other people will be like, oh, I won't talk to someone who won't show his real face, or something like that, or whatever. You might see all kinds of, I've heard a lot of weird assumptions about that. This is off topic. Reminds me when people are like, go make a rationale that they won't talk to someone else who won't drink or whichever. And then there's a weird assumption of character based on some minute thing or some trivial, arbitrary thing. But again, like for me, maybe it's because I grew up with cartoons or anime being the superior medium growing up. But I don't feel any kind of disgust or anything, or not disgust. Like I don't feel that apprehension with like someone having some VTuber model. Actually, I feel a bit more disgust with when it's real people. Maybe that's a flaw on my part. I don't know. But there are female VTubers, for example, that lean into flirtatious content, or seductive content of sorts, and it's very on the nose, that it's fake and all that. But I think, when I see a real person do that, like a real woman do something flirtatious or something awkward, then there's something that makes me feel a little disgusted sometimes. It can depend. But I feel like it usually has to do with the purpose of what I'm going to a video for. If I'm going to a video for something, I want to have an experience with that was advertised to me, but I want it to be divorced enough from, say, real life. And so it's easier to have that separation from, say, some issue or whatever, some problem, if it's like a cartoon. Or if someone has a VTuber model, then I know that we are playing a game and we are separated from this. Like, and we can have whatever degree of investment that we want. We are engaging in some kind of entertainment, like contract of entertainment, whereas I think sometimes if, say, it's like an ASMR video of a real woman that's kind of videotaping herself or something, not videotaping, but recording herself or doing some kind of weird erotic ASMR or something like that, it weirds me out because it feels more on the nose manipulative, that you're taking advantage of some weakness of myself or something like that. Anyway, let me actually read what you were saying. The usual guy will know two kinds of male performers: those who show their faces, actors, news anchors, flesh streamers, and those that don't: radio hosts, podcasters, OG gaming channels. Yeah. I just disagree. Yeah, sorry, man. A male VTuber is a weird in between. To your first point, you're right. There are either visible male performers or not. But I don't see anything weird about there being a male VTuber. I just think that there's a surplus of men in the audience. That there are social issues at play with why that impacts the size of the male audience, and why men go to listen to female VTubers. And some of it has to do with the same reason they go to female flesh tubers, as it were, and seek female entertainment or attention. And it has to do with the same stuff, and it has to do with like our culture and the way things have been developing for a long time. Some of it loneliness, some of it, absence of companionship, etc. Anyway, sorry. Let me not go on too much of a tangent there. But sorry. I'm just gonna let the point fail there, and fall off a cliff. It'll be fine. Well, I tried to do a little bit of drawing, but I'm gonna have to come back to this. I had an idea of what it's supposed to become, but it's late. Your feelings for her aren't real. They're real to me. Nah. Yeah, that can... I guess in line with the topic of the stream, the brainstorming, it's like... Yeah, that's part of why there's a challenge for, say, a male VTuber, is that sort of an unspoken thing about why a lot of guys are out looking up female VTubers and everything, or why are female VTubers specifically more successful than male VTubers in the space, when it's basically the same kind of work that you can do? Or what standards are there for quality among, say, female talents? Does the industry have like a really solid grasp of what its standards are for the entertainers in the field, or is it guided mostly by what the desires are for men that wander in to watch those performers? And what standards do men really have for women? Because standards are for what entertainment you want from men and women. Like what a man wants from a man is different, say, from what a man wants from a woman. And he may not necessarily hold a female entertainer to the same standard. And I'm not talking about like just asking for anything too crazy. But it might be like, if all you really want when you're listening to a stream is to hear a cute girl talk or something, or whatever, or to be cynical, I guess. You're not really thinking about, say, the nature of the entertainment or the form of it or whatever. And you might be, a male audience might be satiated by just that. So then female VTuber doesn't have, say, the pressure to improve, but she doesn't need to. Whereas a male VTuber has to have something to offer, more specifically. Which is partly why I felt like there was a need to have like a brainstorming stream. And to try and challenge myself to think of what exactly am I offering for anyone that passes by. Because there's certain things I'm definitely not going to offer. But anyway. Just need the serotonin supply to keep going another day. Alright guys, it's about midnight. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up. Is that okay? I'd be happy to chat or anything else, but I think this might be a good time to get some rest. I have an audiobook that I need to get some more progress done over the next few days. And then I think, I really want it done by the end of the month. And I feel like I need to catch up. But there is a stream that I'm going to be doing on Saturday evening. We'll have a collab. And it should be fun. Hope maybe we can see you guys there. You have a good night, alright? I'm going to hit the ending stream now and just have the ending play for a minute. And call it. Have a good night, guys. Son of Sonnet.